It started on a Tuesday. Angela, a dental hygienist, had been home with Mia for 9 weeks when Labrador, the family's Labrador Retriever, began to change. Not dramatically, not in a way that made anyone reach for the phone immediately or say something is wrong out loud. Just quietly, the way that real problems begin, at the edge of ordinary life, in a place where nobody is paying close attention. The Labrador Retriever pressed her forehead against the baby's stomach. That was how it started. Angela noticed it on the 3rd day. By the 5th day, Steve had noticed it too. They talked about it over dinner while Mia slept in the next room, and they came to a reasonable conclusion. Angela called the vet and was told it was probably stress from the move. It made sense. It fit the pattern. They were not careless people. They were careful, attentive parents who had read the parenting books and baby-proofed the house and knew when to call the pediatrician and when to wait. They waited. On the 8th day, the behavior escalated. What had been intermittent became constant. The Labrador Retriever stopped sleeping through the night. Angela would find she standing in the hallway at 2 a.m, not pacing, not whining, just standing, facing Mia's door, still, waiting for something that Angela could not identify. She told Steve she was starting to feel uneasy. He said he understood, but that they should give it another few days. They gave it 2 more days. On the 10th night, the Labrador Retriever did something it had never done before. Not once in the years they had owned She. She pressed her entire weight against Mia's bedroom door from the inside. When Angela opened the door at 3 a.m., she found the animal standing over Mia's small form, not touching, just positioned, deliberate, certain. Angela stood in the doorway for 4 seconds. Then she turned on the light. What she saw made her reach for her phone before she had fully processed what she was looking at. The details will not be repeated here because they belong to the family and to Mia's medical file. What matters is that emergency services arrived within 9 minutes. What matters is that the on-call physician later told Angela, standing in a hospital corridor while monitors beeped steadily from the room behind her, that the paramedics said another 20 minutes would have changed everything. The doctor said one more thing. She said, "Whatever your animal was doing, it was right." The cause turned out to be undetected infected wound on toddler foot. Silent, invisible to any human sense. The kind of thing that builds without announcement and resolves without mercy, if nothing intervenes. The Labrador Retriever had been detecting it, not learning it, not being trained for it, simply detecting it. The way animals detect things that exist beneath the threshold of human awareness, in the chemical signature of breath, in the micro-vibrations of a building, in the frequencies of air that carry information, we have given up the ability to read. Angela sat in the hospital for 6 hours. She sat with her hands in her lap and thought about the 9 days she had watched the Labrador Retriever behave strangely and had found a reasonable explanation every single time. She thought about Angela called the vet and was told it was probably stress from the move. She thought about how certain she had been. She had been wrong. Steve arrived at the hospital at 4 a.m. They didn't talk much. They sat together in the corridor and watched the clock. and waited for the physician to come back out and give them news they could carry home. The news was good. Mia recovered fully. The treatment was straightforward once the cause was identified. The attending pediatrician used the word fortunate twice in a single sentence, which is not something physicians do unless they mean it. When they brought Mia home 3 days later, the Labrador Retriever was waiting at the front door. Not excited, not performative, just there, in the way that a thing is there when it has been waiting because it knew to wait. Angela knelt on the floor. She put her arms around the animal's neck. She didn't say anything out loud. Some things don't need to be said. The Labrador Retriever has slept in Mia's room every night since. Angela checks in each morning and finds them in the same configuration. The animal positioned at the foot of the small bed, watching the door, doing what animals do when they have accepted the job of watching over someone who cannot watch over themselves. If you have ever dismissed a pet's strange behavior as anxiety or jealousy or stress, stop. Watch it more carefully. Ask a different question. The answer you find might be one you needed a long time before you thought to look for it. There is a moment in every story like this, one where the family sits in the aftermath and tries to understand what they nearly lost. The math of it is too much to hold all at once. They don't look at the days before the same way. They don't look at the animal the same way. The animal is still the same. It has always been the same. It was doing the same thing every single day that it did on the day it mattered. It just took that one day for the humans in the room to finally understand what they were being told. If your animal is trying to tell you something today, listen. You may not know yet what the message is. That doesn't mean it isn't being sent.